All right, we are going to do our CSS battle. We have this thing today. Um, okay, so we have two of these ball things and a bar connecting them. Uh, the easiest way to make this shape is to have something, an element, that has three border radiuses that are driven past their maximum, and then have one set to 0 that'll make you this shape, and then put a border on it. So that's what we're going to do. But before that, we're going to select our body, and we're going to say the background is this yellow color. And that gets us to like 80% match. I'm going to go ahead and submit just to show. That gets us a lot of the way there. 70%. Okay. Not a great score, but that gets us a 70% match just by getting our background color right. Now, to make this shape, we're going to need a couple elements, so why not make them divs? Well, the reason is because divs have too many characters, but we're going to do that anyway because that's what most people would start with. It's kind of a generic element. Can use it for a lot of things. So we're going to use our selector here, select our divs. We're going to say the background of our div is not quite white, FC, F3, F0. We're going to say our div has a height of, I don't know what it is, 80 pixels. We're going to say it has a width of 80 pixels. We see it there too big because we're seeing two divs. Let's put an outline, 1Q, solid red, so we can see it. Yeah, so we're getting two of them because we have two of them in the DOM. We're going to put a border on it. Border 20 pixels, solid. It's going to be this green color. Doesn't look like that's thick enough. Looks like maybe 25 or 30 pixels. We'll fix that in a minute. Let's start trying to get, let's actually do our border radius. Border radius, and it's going to be 9 inch, 9 inch, 0, 9 inch. There's the shape that we're looking for. I just use 9 inch because you don't have to find out the exact value of border radius you need. You just need, it needs to be more than you need. You can also use, I think, 50% in all of those. Let's try that. 50%. 50%. Yeah, same thing. Okay, so let's try getting one of them into place anyway. So let's start with some margin. Top margin is going to be, I don't know, 20. Let's go ahead and load our extension. Okay, none of the values that we have are right, but that's okay. 25 and 10. But that's okay. We're going to start getting this the right size. First, let's fix our border. It's 25 or 30 pixels. Looks like 30 pixels. Yeah, now it's too far over. Let's make it 5. Let's make it 2. 2 looks correct. We are already getting 8 pixels of margin from our border, so that's technically 10. The other thing that we could do is we could throw a margin 0 here on the body, and then this would be a better number like 10. So there's our first element placed. Cool. Now we need to place the other one. So how are we going to do that? I don't know. There's some ways. Let's try. I don't know if this is going to work. I never do it this way. Let's try a sibling div, and let's make background green. Yeah, that selects it. Okay. So we don't actually want a green background on our thing, but we wanted to make sure we're selecting it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to say scale -1. That's going to flip it over for us. We could also move our outline down, and that would indicate which one we're operating on. Just makes it easier to see what you're doing. Now what do we want to do? We want a margin. We want like -25. And then for the right margin, we want -100, 0, 100. Okay, starting to move in the right way. 200 to 50. It's probably a little bit far down. Yeah, it's too far down. Let's make it minus 55. That looks right. So there are the two shapes. We have one more thing that needs to go between them in the middle. What's that going to be? Well, the easiest thing to make it is a div. So we're going to put another one there. We're going to come down here. We're going to put a semicolon here. We're going to use plus div to select it. We're going to say background 0. We're going to say border radius 0. We're going to say border 0. We're going to say border top 30 pixels solid green. I thought it would get, oh, it may have a border top. It's just on bottom. We're going to say margin minus 100, 0. There it is. Okay, minus 220. And then this one's going to be minus 50, 0, 50, 150. Now it needs more width. It's not wide enough. Width, 120. That's good enough. We're going to get rid of the outline. We should have a match. Is it perfect? No, it's a little too wide. It's bleeding over into this other thing, but it doesn't matter because visually it's fine. So 603.75, that is a match. We can unit replace and minify and get a better score. 318 instead of 490. Put the units back. We can do even some better things, right? As I mentioned, you don't need pixel values on some of these. Some of them you do. On border you do. These ones you need some sort of a value. We could go chasing percentages here. Not really smart because that's a negative. Again, negatives. Yeah, I mean, it's a perfectly valid way of solving the problem. The other thing that we could do if we just wanted to be shorter about what we're doing, just replace our divs with paragraphs and don't worry about closing them. So just 3 paragraph tags instead of divs. And we don't have to close paragraph tags. And instead of selecting divs, we're going to select paragraph tags. There is the same solution with less characters just by changing the element that we're using. Replace pixel values, minify, submit. Now instead of 318, we're 286 just by replacing our divs with paragraph tags. Mostly by that. All right, but if we were going to try to do this with less characters, you still have to have style, mandatory. And instead of selecting the body, I'm actually going to select the HTML. I'll write HTML for now. I'll change it in a minute. For the HTML, I'm going to write background, and I'm going to use a gradient for now. May or may not be a good play. But it's going to be a conic gradient. It's going to go from the yellow color. It's going to be 75% yellow color, and it's going to go to the green color. Green color is going to be 25%, but we can just say 0. It's going to be at 100 pixels and 30 pixels. And then we're going to push it back down. I'm not sure 100's enough, but we'll deal with that in a minute. Then we're going to push it back over and down. I'm going to start with 100 pixels, 100 pixels. That's going to put it there. So it needs to go down 130 or over 130. 130, 140, 150, 1550. That's actually the right width, I think. Needs to go down 35 more, 35. So that is taking up the space between the two shapes. Then we're going to use the body, and background is going to be the white color, FCF3FO. Has to have a pound. Not like that though. Okay, we see the body. We're going to say border radius 50%, 50%, 0, 50%. There is the right shape. Now we need to add a border. 30 pixels solid green. And we have to put semicolon, not a dash, after property name. Now we need to margin it into place. So margin 20. A lot. 200. 10. Actually, yeah, no, this is wrong. This is wrong. Why is my mouse not mousing? Wait, my keyboard wasn't keyboarding. This one's going to be like 150, 10. Okay, now we're getting something close. Not right, but something close. This one's going to be more like 250. This one's going to be 30, 25. And then this one's going to be 140, 135, 5. There is that. Now, we still have to have another thing. We have to have another copy of this thing over here, right? So if we add something to the body, it's going to misshape it. And that's what we're going to do now. So I added a paragraph selector. Now I'm going to add a paragraph tag to the DOM. So that's fine, but it's maybe not. Let's try margin 0. Let's put an outline on it so you can see it. Outline 1 cube, solid red. There is the thing. It's working right now because it has no height. Height, I think it's 80. Now, we have this thing, but we need a bunch of the properties from up here down there. So we need these three specifically. That's going to misshape our body that we already have. We can add a period to change some things a little bit. But the other thing that we can do is actually have our height be up here so that this thing doesn't deform more than we need it to. Now we need to adjust some margins because this thing is squished. But before we do that, we can notice that we have basically a copy of our body down here in our paragraph tag. Well, if we don't want to repeat all of those CSS properties, we can change this selector from a body selector to a star selector. That means everything. So now we've said star is background FC, so we can get rid of that because it's the same thing. We can get rid of that because it's the same thing. We can get rid of that because it's the same thing. We can get rid of this because it's the same thing. This we're keeping just so we know what we're doing, and we've particularly intentionally set the margin to 0. So now by using star selector, it saves us a bunch of properties. Now we need to change the margin. The margin is not right. We also need to do one more thing. We need to scale -1 this thing. I mean, another option would be to reset the border radius. We could certainly do that. We could, yeah. Let's do that. We could, instead of doing the scale trick, we could do this. We could say, which one's it going to be? It's going to be the first one. The 0 and 50%. And that gets us the right shape. We need to change some margins still. But scale -1 is shorter than doing this. So we tend to do it that way. Now let's playing with our margin. Margin. Top margin needs to be, I don't know what it is, 80. Right margin is going to be minus 200. Bottom margin doesn't really matter. Left margin is going to be something like 200. That's making this shape there. And we need to push it over a little bit more to 10. And this one's some more to 80. It's 270. There is the right shape. Get rid of the outline, and that should be a match. That is a match. We have 334 characters right now, which is not as good as our previous one, but we also haven't minified this or unit replaced anything. So let's go ahead and unit replace, minify, submit. It's 223 characters. That's not great. It's not great. That is not a great score. This can it be, I don't know, 12%, 10, 8, 7, 6, 5, nope, 6.5, nope, 5.5, 7's too much, nope, nope. Instead of 250, that's going to be not an easy percentage either. 75%, 65, 62.5, of course. This can probably be 32Q. Yeah. I don't know. Not a great score today. We could save some more characters, replacing that with ampersand. Saves 3 more characters. We don't need to close our paragraph tag. That saves us 4 characters. This that we're doing with the background may or may not be the easiest way to do that. We could also use a box shadow. I wonder how many characters that thing is. Who knows? I don't know. This is where I am today. Thanks for watching. See you next time.